Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. If this is your first time to this channel, my name is Alex Watkins. I'm a real estate agent in Texas and I service Houston and surrounding areas. So first off, let me say that I have been getting loads of calls, emails, and text message from people outside of the state and the city calling to learn more about Houston and surrounding areas, and I absolutely love it. So let me start off on this video, guys, to say if you get a chance, I would really appreciate you help me out and giving me a like and a subscribe, because it actually helps with the YouTube algorithm and it helps to show this video to more people so I can help as many people as possible. So if we can go ahead and knock that out of the way, we'll go ahead and get started on the topic for the day. So today's video is actually going to be about Houston versus Austin. Which city is better, which has basically the best benefits. I get a lot of calls from people outside of the city that ask me, which one of the two is better. Now, seeing as how I don't live in Austin, I did do the research, I have talked to multiple people, I actually do have family in Austin anyways, so I'm gonna try to be as fair as I can and try not to be biased in any way, shape, or form. So I've lived in Houston for almost 30 years now, and it's been a fantastic place to live. However, I have been to Austin many times. Again, I do have family that lives there, so I will try my very best to not be biased, and I'm just gonna go strictly by the numbers. None of these things are my opinions, or I'll jump to my opinion later on during the video, but all of these are strictly numbers that you can look up for yourselves. So let's go ahead and jump into the video, Austin versus Houston. So the first thing that we're gonna talk about, I believe, in my opinion, I know I said I wasn't gonna give my opinions, but in my opinion, the cost of living is going to be the most important thing when you're comparing two cities, because you can talk about all the fun things there is to do, you can talk about the climate and this, that, and the third, but in my opinion, the most important thing is the cost of living. How much is it going to cost for me to live in this place and compared to the place that I used to live? Or if I'm trying to make a decision on two of these places, which one of these is going to save me the most money at the end of the day? So with that being said, we're actually going to look at the cost of living index. So a cost of living index actually allows you to compare what it's going to cost you to live in one city versus another city. So when I say we're going by the numbers, we're going to go on a big scale, and this scale is actually compared to the national average. Okay, national average would be 100. So basically, the way that everything will kind of come together and work itself out is that if the number is higher than 100, then it costs more to live in this place. So obviously, the lower the number in this scenario, the better it is. So when we're comparing the two numbers together, whichever one has the lower numbers that I'll be sharing is going to be the place that has a better cost of living in that specific category. Okay, so we're going to go over that. I'll show you guys what the numbers are, and then you can make a decision moving forward on which one of those places that you want to go. For Houston, the overall cost of living is going to be 96.5. Okay, so on the flip side, if you look over to Austin, now remember I told you we're comparing it to the national average of 100. So Houston's at a 96.5, which is pretty good. Austin, on the flip side, is 119.3. So in this scenario, it's safe to say that the overall cost of living is much better in Houston than it is in Austin. All right, so the next one is going to be food. Food for Houston, 98.1. Food for Austin, 98.1. So with that one, exactly the same. One's not going to be more expensive than the other one. So they're both equal in that one. So I believe we've got Houston 1, Austin 0 so far. Now for health or healthcare. So for Houston, it's going to be 92.4, and then Austin is going to be 94.4. So Austin just slightly larger than Houston, but still around the same amount. Now, housing is going to be a lot different. We're going to talk a little bit more about this in just a moment, but the housing is going to be the biggest difference in the two cities. Okay, so Houston is going to be 80.2 for housing. Okay, now on the flip side, Austin is going to be 159.6. So Austin is a lot more expensive when it comes to housing, and that's basically renting and that's buying as well. So I'll go over the numbers for those things later. We'll talk about the median sales prices over there, and we'll also talk about what it kind of costs to rent in that as well. But you can see the huge discrepancy in housing is going to be the biggest difference out of all the categories we're going to talk about today. The next one is going to be utilities. Utilities for Houston is going to be 96.5, and utilities for Austin is going to be 99.1. So again, not a huge difference, but Houston will take it on that one as well. Now, this is the first time it's going to be flipped over the other way. So for transportation, we're going to go Austin 109.9, and Houston is actually at 119. So for the overall cost of living, Houston is going to be lower than Austin is going to be. So there's a couple of things here or there that Austin had over Houston, but for the most part, the numbers are going to swing hugely in favor of Houston as far as the cost of living goes. Next thing that we're going to talk about is basically going to be the housing market, okay? And we're going to be talking about the median sales price for a home in Austin versus the median sales price of a home in Houston, okay? These things are going to be different everywhere you go, and one place is always going to be lower than another place or higher than another place. That is what it is, okay? So as far as those numbers are concerned, median sales price in Houston is going to be $270,000. Okay, so $270,000 is the median sales price in Houston, Texas. Okay, now when you look over to Austin, that price jumps up to $465,000. Okay, so again, the discrepancy between the two is huge. Okay, you've got 270 over here, you've got 465,000 over here on the other side. So I would say as far as housing goes, Houston would probably be the better choice as far as looking for somewhere with lower housing prices, okay? Now, when it goes to rental homes, average rent in Houston is about $1,469. And then in Austin, the price is about $1,785. So again, you're looking like a $300 discrepancy between the two places if you're renting. So those are the numbers for that particular category. Again, I would say on this one, I'm gonna go ahead and give it to Houston. As far as the number is concerned, numbers don't lie. So Houston's the matchup right now says that Houston is winning this one in terms of cost of living and in terms of housing. Now, also just to clarify, these numbers are pretty much like the standard home, like 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, and as far as the apartment as well, it's going to be like a three bedroom apartment. For the numbers. So the numbers that I gave you for the rent and for the prices to buy, that's what's going to be considered. Okay, so it's going to be basically the standard 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. So we're also going to talk about climate, because climate's a huge part of it, right? You want to know what's it going to be like wherever you move. Okay, is it going to be snowy? Is it going to be rainy? Is it going to be sunny? Is it going to be humid? So we're going to compare the numbers between Houston and Austin. Again, I'm just comparing numbers. I'm not being biased. I'm not putting my personal opinion in this. So I'll go over the numbers on each category as far as the climate goes. And this is rated on a scale. This is a little bit different in the way this one's rated. So for example, the one by rainfall basically will go for, average annual, rainfall in inches, and then snow is going to go by inches, and then humidity. They're just all going to be different. So I'll kind of just roll over, and then, again, you can make your decision based on the numbers that I give you. Okay, so the annual rainfall in inches, Houston is going to be 53 and Austin is going to be 35. So as far as which one gets more rain, you're going to get more rain in Houston than you're going to get in Austin. But we're going to go away from snow. I'll read the numbers just because they're the numbers. But typically, we don't get a whole lot of snow here. So Austin was 0, Houston was 0. See how fast that was? That was easy. So next is going to be precipitation. And then the way that these numbers are geared is going to be annual number of days with precipitation. Okay, so Houston was going to be 90 and Austin was going to be 79. So not a huge difference, but it is different. So in this one, we'll say that there's more precipitation in Houston than there is in Austin. Okay, so the next one is going to be basically number of sunny days. So this one is basically average number of days that's predominantly sunny. So Houston is going to be 204 and Austin is going to be 228. So apparently it's a lot sunnier, or you get more sunny days in Austin than you get in Houston. Not too much, but it still is more. The other two are basically just going to be temperatures for a specific month. So in this one, we're going to be talking about the month of July. So the average temperature for the month of July in Houston is going to be 93, and then in Austin it's going to be 95. So pretty much around the same thing. I will say this, Houston compared to Austin, again, I've lived in Houston for almost 30 years now, and I will say that the humidity here makes it feel like it's a whole lot hotter than it actually is. So even whenever it's, like 90 degrees outside, it feels like 105 sometimes. Feels real, that's probably exaggeration, but I'd rather over-exaggerate than, undersell what it is, because it actually is really hot here because of the humidity. And then the last one for climate is going to be the average daily low temperature for the month of January. Typically, December through January is going to be cold. So the average daily temperature for Houston is going to be about 43 degrees. Okay. On the flip side, for Austin, it's going to be 38 degrees. So again, not too much difference. But again, it's gonna get a little bit colder in Austin than it does in Houston. All right, guys, so we're at the last topic that we're gonna talk about, and that's gonna be job market. This is obviously very important because if you are moving here, you wanna know, what the jobs look like. You wanna know which place has more opportunities. You wanna know which place is doing better economically. So we're gonna kind of talk about the job market. Again, I'm just reading off the numbers. You can research all of this yourselves as well. If you don't believe me, take my word for it. So I'm gonna go ahead and just read right off the chart on this one, and I'll put the chart up so you guys can see it as well. So as far as this goes, we're gonna be talking about the job market. So we'll go unemployment, future job growth, recent job growth, 3-year job growth, 5-year job growth, and 10-year job growth. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the chart and we'll take a look. So as far as unemployment goes, we're gonna go 8% unemployment for Houston, 5.1% unemployment for Austin. Future job growth, 30.9% for Houston, 47% for Austin. Okay, now recent job growth, it says negative 5.6% for Houston, negative 3.3% for Austin. The 3-year job growth is negative 3.8%, and then negative for Houston, and then negative 1.7% for Austin. For 5-year job growth, there's negative 4.6% for Houston and 6.1% for Austin. And for 10-year job growth, there's 6.1% for Houston and 25.5% for Austin. So there you have it, guys. We talked about the cost of living, we talked about the climate, we talked about the job market. So if you are making a decision on whether, from another city or another state, if you want to move to Austin versus Houston, you can give me a call anytime. Call, text, email, DM. You can comment on the page if you'd like to. We can talk about it again. I have family that lives in Austin. I've been to Austin many times. I've lived in Houston for a long time. I know enough about both to be able to give you a decision, and I won't try to sway you one way or the other. I'll just give you all the facts like I did here today, and you can kind of make a decision on whether or not you want to move to Houston or if you want to move to Austin. Now, my personal opinion is that Houston rocks. I'm going to say that every time. If you're from Houston, then you already know how it is. We think we're the best anyways. But no, Houston is awesome. There's great food here. There's great opportunity for lots of jobs. Houston is a huge melting pot. There's so many different, cultures and different things here. The thing about it is, and I actually made a video on pros and cons of living in Houston, Texas. I'll do one on Austin next. Take a look at that video because I basically just talk about things that I hate about living in Houston, things that I love about being in Houston. So I feel like it's an equal balance. The weather does suck and the traffic is horrible. But on the flip side, there's a lot of fun things to do here. There's a lot of job opportunities, lots of different people around here. So it's very diverse. And I feel like it's just a great place to live. So anyways, guys, that's it for our video today. Thank you so much for coming to my channel and for sticking through the whole thing, guys. If you have any friends or family or coworkers or anyone that you're close to that is looking to move anytime in the future, please send them my way. I would love to help you and help them. I'll take great care of your family and friends and your coworkers. So again, all of my contact information is in the description down below, guys. You can reach me anytime. And until next week, you guys have a great day.